Good morning. Good morning, Facebook family and friends. Um, this is Saturday morning with Dr. Mama. Oh, this is Saturday morning with Dr. Mama Rosie Thompson. And as I've said so many times before, we're going to continue to talk about trauma. um, as we said every time we come on that trauma is normal. First of all, let me start again. I apologize. First of all, I want to thank those of you who join in live and those of you who may come in later. I really appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you for coming in. And I appreciate it. I appreciate you listening to the videos. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate all the feedback that I get. And then the encouragement. I've been getting a lot of encouragement. I had two different managers, a long time ago managers, who came to me and apologized for things that they were wondering if they had said. But I really appreciate them, if that's what they feel they need to do. But all is forgiven. All is forgiven for me. So I say it, and the reason I included those things that some things that happened to me with done to me by my managers was to kind of raise awareness even to them. So my reason for being on here, my reason for the book, I guess, my reason for talking is because if you're dealing with some of the things that I dealt with, hopefully these um, discussions in the book will help you to get to a better place. And for those who may feel that they have said something or done something, not just Rose, it's not, I'm not that big, but to anybody, if you said something in a way that you should not have said it, if you done something that, that you should not have said, already if this is something that you wouldn't say to anybody else. So if you've done those things, it's really for you to look at yourself. I'm not trying to point the finger at anybody. I always look at Rosie. That's what I do now. I used to think before I understood trauma that everything that people were doing this and they did this, and if they would just stop doing it, if they would just stop doing this, if they would just stop saying that. So now I don't do that. It's not about what you say or do. That's what you say or do is really you. What How I take what you say or do is me. So to anybody who ever feel that, if you feel that, if you may be in this book, I won't tell you that is not. Yeah, there's some real, everything in my book is true. So if you find that this is something that you've done or something, maybe going forward, you'll just be little bit more mindful. And that's really what this is about, so that you can be more mindful of how you treat other people, what you say to them, what you say to them. It looks like the video is frozen. I hope it's not. No, it's not frozen. Anyway, and again, thanks everybody. Today, we continue to talk about trauma. As we say so often, and every time we come on, we say that trauma is normal, and it really is. It's so important to say that trauma is normal. It's an emotional response to any event, any situation that leaves us feeling isolated, that leaves us feeling overwhelmed. And we talked about trauma. Not all of it subsides naturally, and the trauma that we talk about mostly is the trauma that stays with us, that doesn't subside naturally, and is activated by triggers in our lives. Last week we talked about well, we've been talking about having our nervous system at the baseline where we can be calm when trauma come upon us. We still want to do that. We want to be able to be calm when trauma comes upon us. We want to pay attention to our responses to trauma, whether it be emotional, physical. Sometimes it may be both. Sometimes it can be emotional, sometimes physical, but those responses can be both. We want to look for the withdrawal symptoms in our life, in responses in our life. Finding if we're withdrawing from everybody, we're just putting ourselves into a corner where, where we just don't want to be bothered with people. Remember, our power of thought. Our thoughts have power. What we think is how we leads to how we feel. How we feel leads to how we react. Practice gratitude. As I said last week, is not one size fit all. Practice gratitude when you can. You don't always have and practice gratitude. You don't have to, but when you can, do it. Work to widen our window of tolerance. When we get to that place, we're going to first of all notice when we're outside. Get to know your window of tolerance. How much you can take, how much can you deal with, and then notice, pay attention to when you're outside of your window of tolerance. Practice your mindfulness. Bring your thoughts into the present. And if you're uncomfortable, let yourself be uncomfortable. The last thing, be safe. Be a safe place for yourself. We want to suspend judgment on ourselves. We want to practice compassion. And we're going to believe these things about ourselves that we want our brain to react to. Okay. So we talked about it last week, recognizing the power of thoughts, the thoughts, feeling, behavior. We talked about gratitude, and we don't want to practice it to the point where it becomes toxic. We want to be real with ourselves. Today we're going to go into. I have four more of those things that we can do in our lives to help our lives to be better, to help us get to a place where we want to be. One of us believe that the sky is the limit. Cultivate and share our passion and our purpose. Develop a mastery experience and build beyond the growth mindset. We brought these up before, so we're going to go into them just a little bit more today. As I said before, a Harvard University did a study and found that when people focus intently on one particular thing, that other things, other possibilities that are right in front of them can go completely unnoticed. So when we talk about the sky being the limit, what we're saying is if we put ourselves to it, our mind to it, we change our focus, we can become limitless. Well, those things that we don't think we can do, we can do. We find ourselves able to do things that we never thought. So one thing that I was thinking about as I was making notes to talk to you all, don't allow trauma experiences to stop you from anything in life, and and don't let it affect you to the point where your conversations. You know, we talked about what are we saying to ourselves. Be mindful of what we say to ourselves. So one thing that my mom, when my mom died, she had cancer. My mom died from cancer. My dad, I think he had cancer as well. I know my brother, one of my brothers died from cancer, but it does not run in my family. Be mindful. I know that these things can come about, certain things in our family, but it doesn't matter if it happened to everybody else in the family. It doesn't have to happen to you. So don't say that about yourself. Now, okay, if the doctor tell you that you've been diagnosed with cancer, I'm not saying to dismiss that at all. Please, no. What I'm saying is, when anybody asks you about it, when you get ready to talk about it, tell them that the doctor diagnosed you with cancer. I have a son that got into some trouble, went to jail. And when they wanted to know how long does he have, I always say, well, he was sentenced to this amount. But I don't say he has anything because I always believe that God was gonna bring him home. So that's not be just be think about the way that we say things, think about what we're saying, slow down a little bit, and I know that may be funny coming from some of my work people that says, Rosie, slow down. And at one point, it was so bad till they thought, I don't, Rose doesn't think before she speaks. But oh, yes, I do. I just do both of them kind of quickly. But anyway, um, things don't run in my family. I understand what we mean when we say those things, but let's put some things to run in our family. If we want something to run in our family, let it be perfect health runs in our family. Wisdom runs in our family. Prosperity runs in our family. Love runs in our family. Joy, the spirit of helps runs in our family. Great wealth runs in our family. Anything that you don't want in your life, be mindful how you say those things. And that's how one of the way we practice on allowing the sky to be the limit in our lives. We actively seek and see possibilities. Sometimes when trauma come up in our lives, you know what trauma does to us. It can get us to a place where we don't see ways out. We don't see a way out. When I wrote about my mom in my book, and my mom had a third grade education. My dad was had a fifth grade education. My mom had a third grade education. But my mom started what was called the Hospitality Charity Club. Even though we were in a place in our lives where it seemed like to somebody else and to me, even as a kid, that we didn't have anything, it was awesome when I look back and look at the how she was able and how they were able to seek out and see possibilities. How do you see the possibility of helping someone else when you don't have anything? When everything around you is that seemed like zero, and she was giving away flour when we didn't have any in that thing, and we in that bucket, and I don't recall ever. I mean, none of us ever died from hunger. May have been hungry at times, but we always ate. There was something that always came out that we were always able to eat the things we needed to do. So we actively seek possibilities. We don't just because it's not something that has been done before. We don't let that stop us. We never let never been done stop us. So what if nobody else did it before? So what if and here's an example. I took it off, but I'm gonna say it. There was a I went with a girlfriend to get a car. I wanted a new car. And had my first car. And I went to the dealership with a friend of mine. She drove me, and we got there. I saw the car. I saw the car. I wanted that red Toyota Corolla at the time. I wanted that car. And I said to the salesman, you know how they all over you when you walk in. He said, I said, I want that red Corolla. He said, how's your credit? I don't know. He said, have you ever filed bankruptcy? I said, yes. And he said, oh, you're not going to be able to get that car. But we got some really nice cars over here. We got some really nice cars over here. Come look at some of the. I don't want to look at those. I want the red Corolla. No, you're not going to be able to get that, man. I'm sorry, man, but you're not going to be able to get that. I said, okay. So I turned to my girlfriend. I said, we can go. She like, we just got here. You don't want to look around? I said, no, I want that one right there. And she said, no, you let's just look around. I said, well, I'll look with you if you want to. She said, well, let's just look at the showroom floor. So now I'm done. Because you said no, that's okay with me. I don't, I'm going to get a car. You say no, it's all right. I'm not worried about what somebody saying no. Anyway, we walked into onto the showroom floor, and she was looking around, and I was standing there. You know how they got those glass partitions between the floor and the guys in the office. So there was a man sitting in the office, and I knocked on the window, and I asked him to go and tell his manager that I wanted that red Corolla. And I don't know, he may have went and got coffee, he may have went and got a cup of water, he got up and walked away and came back, but I drove off the lot with that car. Look for any possibilities of things you can do, and don't be afraid to try them. If even the things like, and I'm not saying that you don't have reservations when you do them, you will. Sometimes you'll feel like maybe this is not the right thing to do. I know when I got my doctorate, I wanted to quit so many times. I'm like, I just don't want to do this anymore. The classes were crazy in my mind. It was too much stuff because the problem was I know the Bible pretty well. And the stuff that they were asking me and wanted me to say and wanted me to change was like, no, this is what I see. But anyway, I it's a lot of times the things that I've done, majority of the things that I've ever done in my life was only because there was the possibility of it, not of it even working out, but the possibility of doing it. Don't fear mistakes. We had a manager once that said, only those not doing anything make mistakes. And it was so awesome because at work a lot of times you get held accountable for your mistake. But only if you're not doing anything. If you're doing things, you may make mistakes. That's a natural thing. Don't these things that all of these mindsets and stuff, we're gonna talk a little bit about those a little bit later. All these mindsets and things that we have that need to be changed. It really need to be changed. And if we can't get society, if we can't get management, if we can't get our spouses, we can change them for ourselves. And it will help us in those relationships at work, relationships at home, relationships with our spouses. These things, once we change our mind and the way that we think and the way that we feel and what we understand, it'll help us. Another thing we don't want to do, we don't want to fear. We don't want to fear. We don't want to. We don't. Well, if you do have to fear something, fear regret. That's what. But other than that, we don't want to fear. We don't want to live our life wishing that I had done something, wishing that I had said something. Don't fear regret. I mean, if you're gonna fear something, fear regret. And always keep that. Like I say, people gotta come to you with, and people gotta come to you sometimes when you're doing something that you want to do, and sometimes people come in like and say things, and we have to get to a place where we understand that what they say is not our words. They can say what they want, but what we manage is what we say to ourselves. I remember we had a dinner one time, a luncheon one time, and somebody came in and said, because it was open whenever we had a luncheon up, we did something. Anybody who came in was able to eat, and they were saying, well, I don't think, and it's kind of amazing because sometimes as a Christian, it was another Christian that came in and said these things that we kind of like talk. We don't have the right conversation with each other. And anyway, this person came in and said that you don't have enough food. And I say, yes, I do. I pray though. We have more than enough. See, when people come to you, when people say things, and it doesn't align with where you're going and what you're doing, it's okay. Stop them. Not rudely, not disrespectfully, but stop them. If you were so concerned about it not being enough food, then you should have brought a dish. Or you should have said, do you think you got enough? Is there anything I can do? But if you're not coming with some type of helpful solution to the issue, then I don't want to have the conversation. For me, it's simple. And when we want to get the sky to be the limit in our life, we don't fear the word no. When we fear somebody saying no to us, we prematurely destroy the possibility of somebody saying yes to us. So don't be afraid of it. Don't take my mother said. I know sometimes it's because of pride or whatever, being ashamed. But my mom used to always tell us to take our feelings off our fingertips and put them somewhere back there on our elbow. The sky is definitely the limit. Or we can do like MC Hammer. MC Hammer said the sky itself is just the beginning. We can live in that realm if we want. I saw a commercial with Snoop Dogg and they were talking about him. You may have seen it. And they were asking him about the Skechers shoe commercial. And they asked him what did he feel like the shoe commercial, those that during that commercial was beneath him. And his reply was, all shoes are beneath me. And I loved it. I loved that a lot. We wanna recognize that the sky is the limit. We also said we want to cultivate and share our passion and purpose. Now, I just want to say to you all, I do have my PowerPoint up, so I may not see you if you come on, but if you do, thank you so much. Thank you. So we cultivate and share our passion and our purpose. Um, and when we do that, it helps us to, well, our purpose is that motivated aim in life. It's the reason we get up in the morning. So when we share our passion and when we share our purpose, it helps us to believe in ourselves. Our purpose will take our passion to places much bigger than we are. When we know why we get up in the morning and we're passionate about it, it can take us to places that we never thought. Me, God knows, it seems as if everywhere I've gone, it was somewhere I never thought I would be. But the only thing I try and make sure I know what my purpose in life is. I know my purpose. My purpose is to not only grow and be better. My purpose is to help others get there as well. And I'm very passionate about it. I'm passionate about it enough until when these ideas and things come into my head and stuff, things I decide I want to do, I don't put myself out of it. I don't talk myself out of it. So how are we gonna do that? We're gonna identify our values. We're gonna find out what's deeply important to me. This is what we first thing when we talk about our passion, purpose, right? We're in our passion. We're gonna find out what's important to me. What are my values? What do I deeply care about? And then once we just find out what that is or what those are, we're going to apply those to everyday life. That's our passion. We're going to apply our passion to everyday life. And then we're going to keep our purpose in mind. If we know when something come up that's what was meant, that's what I was meant to do. When we run into obstacles, they don't stop us. When our trauma triggers come up and say you can't do this, you're not worthy. Yes I am. I'm more than enough. I'm an overcomer. I'm more than a conqueror. That's why I titled that book again. That's why I titled it. Yes, I may look like a thornless rose. Yes, I may not prick everything that come in my life, but I am still strong. I am bigger than every obstacle, and I'm stronger than every challenge. You are bigger than every obstacle. You are stronger than every challenge. And I share my passion on here. I didn't know when I wrote my book. I did not know that I would be doing this. When I was at the book launch, I hired this photographer. I never met him before, but I hired this photographer. Excuse me. Anyway, at the book launch, he came up to me and he was talking about trauma, and he says you need to really say something about this. So many people are dealing with this and don't know that it's normal. He kept saying it's normal. It's normal. People need to know that it's not that they're not alone. He kept saying it to me, and so when he said it to me, I'm always trying to make sure that if this is something I should do, I do it. So I started having Zoom meetings to discuss it. But yeah, as you know, with the Zoom meetings, you got to have your own audience. And so I started, and a couple people came on, and but not really paying attention or not knowing that it was out there. enough. And then the last time when I started these, I thought I was done. I did the Zoom for a while and I stopped. And I thought I was done. And it kept coming to me. I kept looking at posts on Facebook and things that I saw that I thought these could be helpful to people. And I woke up one morning, one Saturday morning, and I wasn't even really prepared, but I guess I was. And I came on to do that. And then I've been doing it every Saturday morning since. I am doing what I should be doing, and what I want to do. I am doing what I should be doing, and I'm also doing what I want to do. That's when your purpose meet passion. When your purpose meet your passion, you become empowered. One way that you can know if you become empowered, because empowered people empower others. When you can get to be where you're empowered, you empower other people. There's no such thing as I'm empowered and I'm keeping it all to myself. There's something you don't have a choice. Empower people, empower others. When you're empowered, you're not afraid to give somebody else credit. You're not afraid to give somebody else the compliment. You're not afraid to give somebody else the rain. You don't have to harness everything to yourself because you're already empowered, but you want to empower them. I remember when I went over the first time, first of all, they didn't some of it didn't think I could manage the team, but when I went over to manage the team, I did the work before at the team where I was going to manage. And I've done that work. So I knew how to do the work. And I was really good at it. My performance review were excellent. I was really good. My feedback from clients were excellent. So I knew how to do it. But even though I knew how to do it, I couldn't go over and manage this group of people that way. I had to get leave that alone because I didn't have to go over and just be empowered and act like they wasn't there. I went over and what I did, I started to talk to them and ask them, you know, how can this team be better? They're doing it every day. How can this team be better? What's hindering you? What's stopping you from doing this? What's stopping you from getting all this back work or caught up with this back work? Well, tell me what's happening. And sometimes people, when they talk, they're venting as well. But what I did was I empowered them. Let me know what you need from me to get this done. This is what's expected of us. These are the mandates. This is what we have to do. What do you need from me as your team leader, as your manager, to get this done? And when I empowered them, the best thing one day, I think of my takeaway, and the best day for me, and the best thing they ever did for me, they were able to do things that they exceeded expectations in so many ways. They the what do you call them? Not deadlines, but the timings and things that we had to get things done. They were exceeding those. They were doing things that had never been done in that area. But the best thing for me, it's good that they were able to do that because that was awesome, and it made them feel when they got to believing in themselves and seeing that this was something they could do. When they created this mastery experience for themselves, it built up their confidence. We're gonna talk about that a little bit. It built up their confidence, and when they built up their confidence, there was no stopping them. I remember one day I used to go in and try to help out a little bit, and they say, "Rosie, go home. We got this," and they really had it. They really had it. We had these deadlines that we wanted to make sure everything was done before 4:30. Nothing was ever left. They were awesome because they were empowered. When we go into some place and we want to be the only empowered person, we actually hurt ourselves, and we actually can hurt when we're working in any type of relationship. If in a marriage, if we want to be the only empowered person, no, empower that other person. Okay. Then we want to develop a mastery experience. We brought this one up last time too. And these are the experiences we gain when we take on new challenges and we succeed in them. Whenever we take on a new challenge and we actually are able to do it, this is that mastery experience that we develop. Trauma, as you know, can lead to negative beliefs about ourselves. These thoughts can lower our self esteem and make us even doubt our own self worth. So, when we create mastery experiences, they help us create self efficacy or confidence, that deep knowledge that we can create whatever we want to. Henry Ford had a saying one time said, whether you believe you can or you believe that you can't, you're right. If you believe that you can do something, you can. If you don't believe you can, you can't. You're right. As a man thinketh, so is he. Yes, you are. You if you get it in your if you and I don't mean that it's going to be easy because sometimes your mind's going to go back other places. We've talked about that so many times. How we can be focused on one thing. If you think I'm lying, try meditating. Sit there and you think you're going to do something. Well, when you get my age, it's more than that. But you sit there and think you're going to meditate and clear your mind, and my mind go over there, and it goes to your house, and it's down the street. And now, I don't know if it's because I've gotten older, but even in the house, if I go in the kitchen to make breakfast, and then I see that the paper towel roll is almost empty, then I think about wait, maybe the bathroom one need to be changed. Then I go in the bathroom to make sure there's paper towel in the bathroom. And while I'm in the bathroom, I look up there and say, "Oh, that deodorant is almost out. Maybe I should go to the store and buy some more." And that's what I do as a senior citizen. And I'm not complaining because I actually like it. I think it's all crazy, but it's fun. Anyway, what you believe, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. And when we want to create a mastery experience, you do it through efforts and determination. It's the path to mastering anything. It's efforts and determination. If you want to do it and you want to do it like that car, I wanted that car. I didn't fight anybody. I don't argue with anybody because this is what I want and I'm gonna get it. You can say what you want. I don't fight with people about what they say. I don't argue with people about what they say. That's why people think sometimes that people can use people because if we don't say anything back or we don't start screaming, I don't have to scream. I mean no just as much when I say no kindly as I would if I was using profanity. I still mean no. My first job when I was determined to go to work, I was on public aid. I moved to Chicago. That's in the book. I moved to Chicago and I was determined to find a job. I wanted my life to be different from what it was. A lot of times, I didn't know exactly what I wanted it to be. I just knew that I wanted it to be different. And when I went, that day I decided to go up on. I live near 51st Street, and I was going to start at one end and walk down. I don't even know. I don't even know if I knew how far I was going to go down, but I was going to start in the first store, and I was going to ask for a job, and then I was going to come up the second side, other side, and ask for a job. The first place I went into, the first actual store I went into was a food and liquor store. And I asked for a job. I asked the man for a job. And I was so nervous until I was physically, my hand was trembling. But I'm determined. I'm determined. I'm gonna get this out of my head. I'm gonna do it, even if I'm shaking. Anyway, I was shaking, but I went and I asked him for a job. And he asked me. He said, "You ever ring a cash register?" And my response to him, I know sometimes the things I do are unorthodox, but I promise you the results are proven. Try them for yourself. He said, "Have you ever rang a cash register?" I said, "No, but if you show me how to do it today, I'll do it tomorrow." Never rang it. Didn't know how hard it was going to be. I tell myself that. That's why I talk to me. So he did show me that day, and I was so nervous. And it was one of those old cash registers where you push the nine, and you didn't have a 10 on there. You had to push 9 and 1 to get to 10 or something like that, or 1 and 0, or whatever it was. Every time I push one button and I get ready to push the second button, the first button would jump back out. But he showed me that day. I did it the next day, as I said. I'm probably not the best at it, but it was enough for him to give me the job. But I became really good at it. I did develop a mastery experience. It was something I had never done. I stretched myself beyond what I knew that I was capable of, and I was able to do it. I also remember one time I wanted to when I was in at this one church, and I wrote about them too. I've always tried to. I hear a lot. I hear and I listen. I pay attention, and I want. This bishop has said to we should always try to do something that's never been done. And I don't. I was up on my way home on the train from work that day, and I said, and I'd be talking to myself, you should write a play. And I had these real conversations with myself. I don't know how to write a play, but I wrote the play. And not only did I write the play, I don't sew either. I know how to hem or maybe, fix a rip, but I don't know how to sew. Not only did I write the play, but I made the costumes. When you begin to do things that's outside of what can easily happen and what you can do, it helps you to have this confidence. It builds your confidence. So it helps me to a point that, and I've known it even before I experienced it, because I used to always tell my kids that when they were little, "Are you hell of a that you can do anything?" Now you can't tell my kids they can't do anything. Where you can't tell their mom that she can't do anything either. And I hope that these help you to tell yourself that there's nothing beyond you, that you can do it. And that takes us to the next one. I think it's the last one. It said, build beyond a growth mindset. When we talk about a growth mindset, that means that we believe that our basic abilities can be developed through education and hard work. What I already know, I got these abilities to do this stuff, but I can develop them through dedication and through hard work. And we that brain and that our brains and talents are the starting point when we talk about building beyond that. So when we're talking about just our growth mindset, we're talking about what we can already do, but we build it and make it better by developing it through dedication and hard work. But we want to build beyond that, and we can build beyond that, beyond just what we already have. We can let our brains and our talent of what we already know be the starting point to creating something totally brand new. Build beyond that mindset of this is how far I can go. Build beyond that mindset of, well, one thing that I really wish that they didn't have sometimes is helpful to me, a lot of helpful to a lot of us. But some of the internet stuff that we do, and we get our mind fixed in it's called mindset traps. Because even with little baby, younger, somebody have a baby, and they go on YouTube or Facebook or someplace, not Facebook, but go on Google, and they looking at how old the baby should be before they get a baby some cereal and milk. And the little baby crying half the night because the baby hungry. Some of this stuff we have to be mindful of those ingrained beliefs. Be mindful, be open enough to learn and be open enough to say, well, let me look into this. Let me just give it some more thought. Let me research a little bit more. So when we want to build beyond that mindset that this is as far as I can go, we want to recognize those mindset traps. And first thing we want to eliminate them. Because what that trap does, it gives us the belief that our qualities and our abilities are already fixed or limited. And what we can do, one of the number one traps there are, is when we avoid challenges that might expose our weakness or make us feel inadequate. Anything that we need to do that would make us feel like, oh, they may not, I don't want to appear weak. I don't want to appear that I don't know how to do that. That's that mindset that we have to totally. That's one of those traps, those mindset traps. We embrace challenges. They can either be roadblocks or they can be opportunity. When a challenge comes, make it an opportunity. Make it an opportunity. Be persistent in the lifeblood of your growth mind. Be persistent. I told you about retiring the first time. I told you about retiring the second time. When I went back to work after the first retirement, I went back to work and I was making way less, probably about 30, $20,000 less than I made when I retired, and I wasn't even gone 2 years, and I still knew the work. I came in like able to go to work right away without training, but I was still making about 20, $30,000 less than when I left. So I took the job. I knew I'm going to get my money back, but this job doesn't pay that much, so I took it. So when I took it, then I started to post. After I stayed there a minute, I started post, and I didn't let nobody tell me how long I had to be no place before I post. I posted. So one day I had posted to so many places until one of the managers called me in the office, and she was kind of new to the U.S. And she called me in the office. She said, "Why don't you talk to me?" She said, "We let you come back to work." Okay. First of all, I didn't ask. You asked me, but okay. We let you come back to work. You come back and you're working in this area. I hear you posted for that area. Then I hear that you posted for this. And then I hear you posted for that. She said, and I just want to understand because it appears that you're all over the place. Those were her words. You are all over the place. And so I know how I answer people sometimes, and I know that it doesn't come out the way that they probably want to hear it. So I had to turn around a little bit so she would understand and I could still say what I needed to say. I want to tell you this, and I hope you can understand what I'm saying, and I hope it doesn't come out the wrong way. Gave her that before I even said it. I said, I'm a millionaire. It's like me. I'm a millionaire. I said, and I said, I got cash in my pocket, and I'm standing in the soup line when this steakhouse is open next door. I have too much inside of me to allow this to be as far as I go. I said, do you understand what I'm saying, right? She said, Rosie, you can go. You are a millionaire with cash in your pocket. Stand in that soup line only if you want soup or if you finna buy for those other people standing there. If not, go to the steakhouse. Don't let anybody stop you from growing and going to where you want to be. The next one, you foster another way. We foster a passion of continuous learning. We don't become a roadblock for yourself. As we become a safe place for ourselves, don't be a roadblock for yourself. Be an opportunity for yourself. Open your eyes to all the great possibilities out here. Seek and appreciate constructive feedback. Now, two things I want to say: seek and appreciate constructive feedback, and then you want to surround yourself with people who inspire growth. Sometimes the feedback, when it comes back, you want to make sure that what you're getting is constructive feedback. Sometimes people say things because of you. Well, most of the time, when people give you advice, is because of what they believe that they could do. So you're mindful of that too. So because sometimes people have say that you shouldn't do something because of when like when I was going to buy this condo, when you already got a house, why would you want to move at this age? That kind of stuff is not aligned with where I'm going, so I have to be mindful to that, and I have to stop those type of conversations. I don't have those. They know sometimes some people can let people have those conversations with them, but still have that conversation, their own conversation with themselves. That's not my strong point. I hear what people say and I internalize all that stuff. So sometimes, as my sister say, I say, no, I stop it. When there's something that's not aligned with where I'm going, no, and I let them know. I'll try to help them to understand why, but I can't do that. I don't do that for me. So we're gonna also surround our build beyond a growth mindset. Thanks to everybody who may be listening or who have already come on today. Believe that the sky's the limit. It's only impossible when you believe it's impossible. Cultivate and share your passion and purpose. Look for that purpose, that motivating aim, and allow it to take your passion to places that are so much bigger than you. Don't feel that you can't because you never did. Don't let those things come up in your mind and heart that this is how it has to be. No, it does not. Develop a mastery experience. Don't be afraid of losing. Don't be afraid of failing. Take on that new challenge and succeed at it. Because when you already decide that you can't do it, you've already put a block in front of yourself. Don't put it in front of you. When I bought my first car, I did not know how to drive. I didn't know how to drive as an adult. I came to Chicago and I bought this car from this guy who was selling cars. I bought a car from him. I paid for the car, and he was still driving my car because he knew I didn't know how to drive. So one day I asked him to bring me my car, and he said, "Well, you don't know how to drive." And I said, "Well, if it's right in front of my house, it's my car. I paid for it." He brought my car. I don't know if it was purposely, but he parked my car between these two cars. I sat there and looked at that car for so many days because I didn't think there was any way I was going to get that car at that parking place. But one evening, I got in my car and went back and forth until I got at that parking place. And my mama said I ran every sign, but I drove my car, and I've been driving ever since. Now I'm not saying that was the best thing to do because somebody could have gotten hurt, but I thank God. But it's because I'm not afraid of losing. I'm not afraid of failing. I still will try things. Now I'm more wise, but in what I try, but develop that mastery experience and build beyond that growth mindset. Not only can we build on what we already know, but we can go so much farther. Don't be afraid to tap into that unknown. Don't be afraid to say, Um, like I said, when the doctor say something, that's what the doctor said. You don't believe the stuff the doctor have said to me. The doctor told me one time I had cancer. Now I could take a lot of stuff. I took asthma. He said I had asthma. I use this inhaler regularly. I do. I do guilty as charged. But when that man told me I had cancer, I just knew something inside of me. I knew that people were dying from cancer. Mama had died. This is not going to happen to me. I'm not even trying to say that I sent the cancer away. I'm not even trying to say that. He could have been wrong in his diagnosis, but I do know this. When the test came back, the other tests he did, they didn't find no cancer. Now I do know that, and that's I haven't had cancer since. And I know already in me that I won't get cancer. So they come up with all this stuff and they always doing things and they can say what they want. And I will tell you, the doctor said, or they diagnosed this, or they sentenced him. His sentence, they gave him this much time. But for me, what I'm saying to myself, I don't have cancer. What I'm saying to myself, no, he's coming home. What I'm saying to myself, I can do anything I want to do. What I'm saying to myself, I don't say I can't afford to go on vacation. No, I don't say that. What I'm saying is I'm gonna have to get some things in order. I'm gonna work on some things in order to see if I'm gonna go. Not if I can't afford to go. Because we can afford to do it. That's one thing I want to talk about. And not this time, and definitely because I'm done for the day. I'm gonna do our affirmations. Not next time because I don't think next time because we got a couple of more of those bullet points that we want to go over next time, and then maybe after that to talk about how can we talk about managing finance because managing our finances and how we can do the things we want to do without feeling the pain of it. Our today's affirmation again. Thanks to everyone who came online today. Thank you all. Thanks to those who are viewing this video later, and even those on YouTube who are viewing the video. Again, I really, really, really appreciate it. Didn't look at Facebook today as you came on, but any comments, any questions, I will definitely answer, and I really appreciate you. Our affirmations are: my life is divinely guided. I am not defined by the trauma that I have experienced. I don't need permission to exist. I have a right, and I say I, but it's you as well. When you say them, it should be you, for yourself. And I can change them and say, we have a right to acknowledge our feelings without justifying them. We accept ourselves completely. Today, we choose ourselves. We are only responsible for the me in any relationship that we're in. And we are a safe place for ourselves. Be that safe place for yourself in every way. We're not just talking about the things that happen in our lives and how bad they were, but we're talking about how we become just who we want to be in life, how we get to that place where we can see. We look out even on the day when it's whatever stormy, rain and cloudy and foggy, and we can still see that sunshine in our lives. We can get there. I know because I've got here in a lot of ways, and I am still growing and still getting to those places. And I want all of us to be able to do it. I really appreciate you guys for coming on today. You all have a great day, have a great weekend, and I hope to see you on Saturday at 8 a.m. Goodbye.